I like to think that I'm a pretty simple man. I see a big third-party game entering the Nintendo hemisphere on Switch or now Switch 2, and I get excited. I do have all of the hardware. I have a PlayStation 5, I have an Xbox Series X, I have a decent PC, a Steam Deck, I got the whole 9 yards, but there is something just more interesting to me when one of these games jump ship to a Nintendo platform, whether it be that there are some sacrifices they need to make it not look just as good as the other consoles, or there's some unique controller quirk that'll make the Nintendo version just a little bit more fun to play if you like these weird little gimmicks like I do. So, while I am obviously hopeful that any future games that come out on PlayStation and Xbox do also have a version on Nintendo Switch 2, I can't lie, if any other game from this current generation, or I guess the past generation, decides to make the jump over to Switch 2, I'm gonna be interested in that as well. So here's a list of my third-party wishes of existing games already that I guess I'm gonna spend full price on if they come out on Switch 2. Listen, I'm not saying it's the most sound strategy in the world, but I'm a Nintendo fan. We have our own set of problems, and I just cope with it by giving them money. Listen, it is what it is, right? Let's go! I feel like the most obvious one is Doom: The Dark Ages, right? When Doom 2016 made its way to the Switch 1, that was one of the biggest turning points I had seen in the company history. That was the moment when it was like, okay, yeah, Nintendo's gonna be serious about these rated M games coming over. And you know what? Obviously it's like the most inferior version of the game in terms of visual quality, but it's still a really fun version of the game just by having gyro control built in with the controllers. I like that kind of stuff. And then obviously after that we got to see a whole bunch of Miracle ports, including Doom Eternal, which once again, not the best way to play the game, but it's cool that it's there. And honestly, I think Switch 2 editions of 2016 and Eternal should be in the cards as well, but we gotta finish this modern trilogy, man. Doom: The Dark Ages. I bought this on PS5, I loved it on PS5. The world is so much bigger in scope than Eternal in 2016 was, so to see that drop into Switch 2, obviously there will still be some sacrifices, but, and this should apply to 2016 and Eternal, give me mouse controls, man. Just by pure virtue of the packed-in controllers having mouse controls, not only will you have gyro controls, which will still be very fun, but mouse controls too? For Doom? I played the game on the DualShock controllers, and I can still tell you that the mouse controls are going to be far superior for this. This seems like one of the most obvious shoo-ins for third-party games making its way to Switch 2, but it's just a matter of time. Man, when Capcom said the modern Resident Evil games were going to be coming to Switch, and then they said they were going to be the cloud versions, man, that mental whiplash that I had to deal with was very upsetting. I love modern Resident Evil so much. The 2, 3, and 4 remakes are incredible. I even do like 3. I'm not going to take that back. There's a lot of things they could have done to improve it, but I still really enjoyed 3. 2 and 4 are some of the best games Capcom's ever made. 7 is also fantastic, and 8 is kinda weird. I'm not gonna lie, it makes a lot of weird changes, but it's still a fun game all the same. Bring them all over to Switch 2, man. Capcom has a history of taking their time and eventually porting every Resident Evil game to a Nintendo console. Forget the cloud versions, no one cares about those. Give us native versions of all these games on Switch 2, once again, with gyro and mouse controls, and we're golden. God, that would be so good. Here's the thing, as someone with the Steam Deck, I do have access to Resident Evil 2 and 4 remakes in HD in portable mode, but man, it runs the fan so loud and it's so hard to hit 60 FPS. Let me get a nice native version built for the Switch 2, and I will buy all of them because I love modern Resident Evil so much. And actually, while I'm on this topic, go back and update Resident Evil 4, the original, to add gyro and mouse controls. It was so baffling that that game did not have that. 5 and 6, magically enough, had gyro controls, but not 4. The game where like the Wii version is still arguably the best one. I have a dream where Resident Evil 4 Classic and Remake are on one console and they feature gyro and mouse controls, and that to me sounds fantastic. Make it happen, Capcom. Please, I'm begging you, put Lady Dimitrescu on my Nintendo Switch 2. That would sell gangbusters. On the topic of cloud games, in 2 ways rather than 1, I want the Kingdom Hearts HD games to make their way over. In the past, I did a big ol' retrospective on Kingdom Hearts, and the long and short of it is, I enjoy Kingdom Hearts 1, I love Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'm kinda whatever on Kingdom Hearts 3. Honestly, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna put them all on Switch 2, and I totally understand that, but realistically, I just want 2.5 HD remix. That's all I want. I just want Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and I want Birth by Sleep on my console, and that's it. Like, will I play 1 again? Sure. Will I play Chain of Memories again? I don't know. I don't really care about 2.8 all that much. I don't really care about 3 all that. I just want 2.5. 2 Final Mix is still to me one of the greatest action RPGs of all time. And it always was so upsetting that it never got a native Switch version, which is insane because like you could have just done the 30 FPS version of the games. It was on PS3, but whatever. Square Enix is a weird company. I have no idea what the future of Kingdom Hearts holds, but just give me 2.5, man. You can even skip 1.5. Like, honestly, just give me 2 and Birth by Sleep and I'll be happy. You know, while we're on the topic of RPGs, I'm just gonna rattle off a few of them that are on PS5 and Xbox Series X, but not Switch 2 currently, only because while I do have access to those consoles, it's really hard for me to play RPGs on those consoles when I'm stuck in front of my TV. There are obviously options. I could get them on the Steam Deck, or I could even get a PlayStation Portal and have a fine enough time, but there are multiple RPGs that take full advantage of those consoles' power, and I want just a slightly scaled down version to put on my Switch 2, okay? Like, I want Persona 3 Reload. All right, I'm amazed that wasn't announced already by the time of this video. Like, they made such a big deal about getting the Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royal, and we got all the Persona 5 spin-offs on console, and they didn't immediately announce 3 Reload and 4 Replay for Switch 2. Come on now. Come on. Tales of Arise, that's another one. There's multiple Tales games on Switch. Let's continue the trend, all right? Let's put Arise on there. Metaphor ReFantazio, another one that's mind-boggling they didn't already announce. Visions of Mana. I really enjoyed the Trials of Mana remake that came out on Switch, and while I could also use a Switch 2 port with 60 FPS, Visions of Mana is very cool from the demo I played. A Switch 2 version would be awesome. The Oblivion remake, Microsoft and Bethesda are definitely companies that love to spread their games as thin as they possibly could, so give me a Switch 2 version once again with mouse controls. That would be a blast. And I think the most obvious one is Expedition 33. I have heard so many people talk about Clair Obscur so damn much, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's no way in hell a Switch 2 version will look as good as the PS5 or PS5 Pro, but I am just more likely to play these games on Switch 2 than on PS5 or Xbox, so there's a handful of RPGs. There's probably some that I'm missing. Like, the Atelier games are kind of cool, and the latest one, Yumiya, could use a Switch 2 port. That'd be nice. But yeah, I like a lot of RPGs, and I want more on my Switch 2. But I guess it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, I'm still going to be playing like Suikoden and Lunar. Like, there's so many RPGs, dude. Like, liking RPGs is a mistake. Don't like RPGs. They take up too much time. Two of my favorite games that have come out within the last decade are this FPS series called Ghostrunner. It's like this crazy mix of Mirror's Edge and like the Super Meat Boy kind of. You have to go through these micro challenges, and if you die, you gotta start right back where you left off. But it's in a giant cyberpunk world, and also you're a ninja, so you have a sword, and you're also doing these crazy wall runs and platforming, and the music is so intense. And dude, I love these games so much. And Ghostrunner 1 did come out on Switch, and it's one of those like miracle ports where it looks kind of cruddy, but you know, it plays fine enough. Ghostrunner 2, MIA on Switch, give me a combo pack. Give me Ghostrunner 1 Switch 2 edition and Ghostrunner 2. Ghostrunner 2 like takes the more condensed scope of Ghostrunner 1 and expands it when you least expect it. You're just playing it and it's more like Ghostrunner 1 except there's grinding, and then there's like an open world segment on a motorcycle, and it's awesome. Like, guys, I love these games so much. They're so much fun, and I really don't like playing these games on controller. Even when I go back to games like Doom and the Resident Evil remakes, I can play them on controller just fine. It's really hard for me to do Ghostrunner this way. Having a Switch 2 Joy-Con with mouse mode for these games, it would be heavenly. Please, please, please. Here's something that's not even announced yet, but I just think it'd be kind of cool. Listen here, okay? They've already made a commitment that Call of Duty will eventually make its way to Nintendo Switch 2. They have like this big plan. It was all during the acquisition of Bethesda that they're going to commit to releasing these games on Nintendo consoles. Fine, okay? Expand the reach. The games are fine. I don't really super care. Here's what me as a Nintendo fan would be interested in. Go back to the original Modern Warfare trilogy and give me those games remastered with active online play. Modern Warfare 2 is where I started to really sink my teeth into the Call of Duty games, and I still think they're a ton of fun if you can get into multiplayer lobbies that are not hacked to hell, and they have really solid single player modes. So to remaster those 3 games as like this trilogy pack, to me, is way more enticing than giving us a port of Black Ops 7. Dude, like, I really don't care about modern Call of Duty. Even just remaster Black Ops 2, man. Like, I don't care about new Call of Duty. Just go back to that era. There's so much good stuff. You can call them Wii ports. You can do a Wii U port considering Black Ops 2 was on there. I just want these games remastered on Nintendo. I think that'd be great. They did do the campaigns of 1 and 2 on PS4 and Xbox, but they didn't have the multiplayer because they started to incorporate those maps into the newer Call of Duty games. It's weird. It's weird. As a Nintendo fan, clearly I just like buying the same game over and over again, so give me the old Modern Warfare games again, dude. And Black Ops 2. There you go. Those 4 games specifically, that would be fantastic. Microsoft, are you listening? It's finally time for a replay. I'm tired of asking. I like to think in the back of my mind that they're really setting us up for never expecting this. You know, they put a whole bunch of the Microsoft Rareware games on the Nintendo Switch online apps. So you got like Battletoads and Killer Instinct and of course Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. Those are all available for those who want to play those games on the Nintendo Switch online service, but I mean, come on now, we got more powerful hardware here. You mean to tell me you can't figure out a way to finally natively port Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts over? Is that really what's stopping you? Having the actual original ROMs in the Nintendo Classics apps, like that's all fine and dandy if you just want a way to play a lot of these games, sure, but there is so much flourish and polish to Rare Replay. You can get the HD versions of Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, you can get a nice polished version of Conker's Bad Fur Day. Viva Pinata would be like the perfect portable game, and they've already shown in the past with Ori and the Blind Forest that you can get achievements on other consoles, and there's a whole bunch of in-game achievements in Rare Replay, so you can figure something out there. I'm just tired of waiting, man. Put Rare Replay on Switch 2. You can even, as a bonus, throw in the Donkey Kong Country games. Have like a dedicated Nintendo version, all right? I mean, like, clearly this company just, I guess, doesn't like making a bunch of money because they're still letting Banjo-Kazooie as a franchise just sit there in their archives, but whatever, this is a wishful thinking video. It's never gonna happen. Here's something that's more likely under Microsoft's umbrella, Psychonauts 1 and 2. They own Double Fine now, and Psychonauts has never made its way to a Nintendo console. You can buy the original Psychonauts and Psychonauts 2 on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. No Nintendo. Arguably the user base who is more likely to buy high-quality 3D platformers. It makes the most sense in the world to me. If this does happen, of course I would like it to be a combo pack. It just seems like to me that would look nice and fancy as like just a 1-2 replay kind of box right there. Because realistically, Psychonauts 1, it is a little bit hard to go back to, like the world and the atmosphere, super awesome, and I really dig the story, but mechanically it is incredibly dated and janky, oh my goodness. But Psychonauts 2 is one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time. The production values are off the charts, the topics that it handles, it does with such a grace, and I love every bit of storytelling about this game, and it still maintains to have the classic 3D platform approach of having a really nice and charming overworld to explore with this gigantic campus, and then you can go over to the forest and you can meet up with your parents and the rest of your family and just, oh God, I love it. I love Psychonauts so much. Please give me these games on Nintendo. It's easy money, Microsoft. Come on, stop making stupid decisions. Just make money. It's not that hard. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just want games. Yeah, I'm just gonna, it's another Microsoft game that I think should make the jump. I mean, is it Microsoft anymore? There were like weird rights things that were happening with this game, right? Because then it jumped to PlayStation and then the company almost closed down. Like a Switch version was originally announced for Hi-Fi Rush and then it never happened. So now's the time, I guess, right? Like Hi-Fi Rush is sick. Like it's such a really cool action game with the rhythm mechanic. Like it's so much fun and the style is incredible. Like just make it happen. Like Phil Spencer, are you listening? I don't even know if you're responsible for Hi-Fi Rush anymore, but hey, you can make it something. You can make something happen. You got nothing else going on, right? Just give us Hi-Fi Rush finally. It's been too long. This is a bit of a pipe dream for me, but it's just latching off of the RPG talk I mentioned earlier. One of the most baffling decisions I've seen Square Enix make in the last decade is taking Dragon Quest X, the online MMO, which was available in Japan for Wii, Wii U, Switch, like the fact that it's even on Wii is crazy, and then it's like, okay, you're not gonna localize that, fine, but then there's Dragon Quest X offline, where it's just the story-based content, and you got a cute chibi style, finally, a way you can localize the game for America, and you don't do it. You still leave it in Japan. I don't understand you. Give me this game. Why is 10 just not available in the US, despite how successful 11 was? You're driving me insane, Square Enix. Finally give us 10 offline, Switch 2 edition, fully localized, and watch the money flow in. I have no idea when it'll happen because at the time I'm making this video, we're still waiting on 1 and 2 HD 2D remake, which hey, that'll be great, but 10 would be fantastic as well, considering 12 is God knows how far away it's gonna be. Like, we still haven't seen anything about it. Like, that's years and years away. Also, go back and give us a proper Switch 2 version of Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2, the Warriors games in this franchise. They're both pretty fun, but those original Switch versions are not good. If anything, Heroes 1 and 2 were the original game where people thought, oh, maybe the Switch is actually not going to be able to handle third-party games at all, because it was so poorly optimized that it really put the fear of another Wii U scenario in a bunch of people who are watching Switch coverage in 2017. Go ahead and fix those games because they're actually good, and they deserve a proper home in the Nintendo library with every other Dragon Quest game that's on the console, because there's so much Dragon Quest out there. Why not have some more? So there are no doubt some other third-party games that I'm missing that could easily make their way over to the console and could easily be an exciting little bit in a Nintendo Direct, but here's what I currently got. Like I know there's games like the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black remaster, like that could show up too. why not? I just don't know a lot about Ninja Gaiden. I guess now's the time for me to get into it, right? Because we have 4 coming out. Like, why not? The more of these games, the better. Now, this video could be dated in one of 2 major ways. One, all of these games actually do magically come out because the companies see how much successful the Switch 2 is, and they say, hey, you know, we can do this, you know, why not? Or I could just be blowing smoke, and then like in a year's time, things just for some reason crumble horribly, and next to none of these happen. I'm excited to look back and just see how far my predictions are. But let me know what games you want to see down in the comments below. And let me know how delusional I am for thinking Rare Replay is finally going to happen on Switch 2. Listen, man. Nuts and Bolts ain't that bad of a game, alright? It's been enough time. Get over it. We're never getting another Banjo-Kazooie game anyway.